Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another Tuesday night, the 7th of October, for episode 188 of So What's Been Happening. This is a really exciting one, and thanks again to Chris Familton for connecting us with John Freeman Baxter from Alcotomic. We're not going to chat gigs tonight because I just urge you to get out there and see a venue and get to a venue as quick as you can. Bring a mate, bring someone you haven't spoken to for a while, give them a call and say, we're going to a gig. Football's over, AFL, NRL's over. It's time to be back out there seeing music and supporting gigs and venues. This band played a gig at the Punters Club. We're going back a little bit in time, but I think it was the 100th anniversary, I think it was, of a gig for the Punters Club. So it wasn't obviously the 100th anniversary, but it was a special gig nonetheless for the Punters Club back in the day. And this guy's played a gig there as well. So let's bring up John Freeman Baxter for a chat. Welcome, mate.
G'day, Aaron. How are you? Thanks for having me on.
Good, very good. What else would you be doing on a Tuesday night?
Nothing. I'd be sitting here talking to you because, there's too many people in the house tonight. Lovely to be out here, out in the studio, mind you. Where else would you want to be?
Yeah, brilliant that it's not a fake background. It's a real deal. It's a real old-fashioned studio, mate. It's awesome to have.
It is. I'm so lucky to have this in the backyard as well. I can come out here and escape and write music and fiddle with the console and do bits and pieces, which is lovely.
Yeah, great. Well, let's kick off with that. How long has the studio been together, fully functioning as it is now?
I reckon about 12 years, I think. It's originally, I'm on a bit of land out the road from Melbourne now after living most of my life in Melbourne, but it's an old milking dairy that seemed to be asking to be converted into something. So it was a great opportunity after having a couple of studios in the city to convert this into a space so we could record and do drums in particular, because it's a pretty big room. And as you know, being in the city and capturing live drums is pretty kind of tricky sometimes in a residential environment. So having it here with not many people around us, it's been great. We've had a lot of bands up here and we can just kind of make lots of noise and play any time of the day or the night. So, yeah, it's a great space. Love it. It's just a great little place to come and do things.
Yeah, it sounds like a pretty creative space to do your thing for sure. Great to have. All right, we're going to flash back a fair bit in time. Picture you probably haven't seen for a little while. 1997. It was a few years after I finished school, and this band was on the horizon. Alcotomic. Here they were at the time. Look at these young, strapping lads.
Spunky boys.
Time moves quickly, as we know. But yeah, there was a few things happening at the time. The EP was about to launch. There were some things on the go. We're going to kick it off with a track from that EP, Living in Luxury. Here's a little bit of it.
I'm a little hypnotized, frozen at the knees. The letters here open nervously. I feel like toffee. Taste me, you will see. I'm having a hell of a time. This is where I'll be. Nothing ever comes for free. That's your guarantee. I'll be at the top of my tree. Living luxury.
There you go. 96, 97. Wasn't that long ago, but so long ago when you have a feel for it. The words haven't changed, though, that's for sure. Nothing ever comes for free.
That's your guarantee. It was such a great time for music in Melbourne. I mean, you probably have a lot of guests on the show that talk about the 90s and just the energy, the venues, the recording studios. There was some money around. Not that it's about money, but that always helps, put tours and releases together. And just blessed to be a part of that. And during that era of the mid-90s in particular, I just left Holocene. I was a guitarist in Melbourne band Holocene, and put Alcotomic together, and just to be out there, scraping the money together to get in the studios to put your stuff together. That song in particular originally was a demo, but it just evolved into being a part of an EP. I mean, that was always due to the lack of funds. You know what I mean? We had, you go to, that was recorded at Birdland and Paran with Lindsay Gravina, and you go in there with $400. You've got 10 hours, and you've got to get these songs together, and you just got to do the best you can. And just listening to it, then you could hear the popping and the breathing and the vocals and all that kind of stuff, which is actually, it kind of makes it real, makes it kind of, you can feel that in that recording, and it's a little intense and rushed because you're looking at the clock the whole time when you're recording, and it's it's a great experience to be. I'm so glad to be a part of that.
Yeah, I miss a little bit of that pop and the the non-perfect elements of music these days. Do you think we're got to a point where can be a little bit over-engineered?
Oh, absolutely. I think it's been going for a long time now, and not getting any better. And I think that was one of the deliberate things we tried to do with this sort of, let's say, comeback record. We try to keep it as honest as possible. I mean, it's hard to get away. If you want to call recording to a hard drive cheating, I mean, so be it. But, that's how everything's done nowadays. But we don't, obviously not using reel-to-reel and all that kind of stuff we used to use. But we tried our best to keep it as honest and authentic as possible and not cheat, or cheat very little as possible, so we could kind of recapture some of that, as untrendy as that might be, considering everything is so polished nowadays. So, it's I don't think you can chase that, really. You just got to do what you do and stay with that. And that was what we were doing back then. So,
well, the new album's out right now, which is really exciting. It's 30 years in the making, some may say, but that's definitely not the case. That's how it's been portrayed in some degrees. But 8 Second Empire, tell us a little bit about the name, firstly, the title.
Well, actually, it's a bit of a take on what we're just talking about. I mean, I read somewhere recently that they say the adult attention span is 8.25 seconds. And we were thinking, well, that basically, considering all the competition we have with social media and all the entertainment online, we've got 8 seconds to get someone's attention effectively. You know what I mean? And so it was a bit of a piss take on that. Let's see if we can do what we can with our music to try and grab attention in that 8.25 seconds. So that's the world we live in. But back then it was you get an EP or an album and you listen to it. You get the CD or the cassette, whatever it was, and you just listen to the whole thing. Well, nowadays, people just they're just flicking through their Spotify and Deezer and their Apple Music, and they're just next song. Yeah, so it's not much of a window of opportunity to get people hooked into your music, really.
Yeah, you're 100% right. I mean, listening to album through cover to cover, back in the day, flipping tapes as well, listening to side B, trying to get it right. So you flipped it back to side A on the right track that it was going to be on, and all those good fun things that the kids of today miss, they say, but without sounding older than we need to be. Do you kind of miss those days in amongst the, not being able to play or sit there and listen to a whole raft of music?
Yeah, yes and no. Isn't there kind of like pros and cons to everything in life? And
sure.
I mean, who doesn't want to have all their favorite tracks on one device? It's so easy to kind of listen to what you want to listen to, which is kind of feeding back into the 8 seconds again. I don't want to hear Def Leppard today. I want to listen to Black Sabbath or whatever it might be. And but I certainly miss the spontaneity and all that sort of commitment from the early days of us having to make those decisions and stay with them. But nowadays, let's try something else. Maybe we'll do that instead. And I think all that choice has come with this kind of era. And like you said, we don't sound like old people, but great to have all that music. But I think back then we were sort of forced to make decisions and move on the fly all the time. I think that's kind of healthy in a creative sense.
Yeah. I think awesome to reminisce on what used to be and what we don't have so much now. I just generally don't think we get a chance to sit down and listen to an album in its entirety and see how it come together. And I think that's a bit of a lost art. Obviously, the real lovers of music still get an opportunity to do that. But I get to a point sometimes I don't even listen to the whole track. I've moved on to the next song, and it's just like, geez, are we that? I think we've all fallen attention now. We are, aren't we?
We've all fallen victim to it, and there's no doubt about it. And it's like that whole let's not spend any time on our phones. We're all on our phones. I mean, how do you get away from it? It's just the way of the world. And particularly since, a lot of this marketing promotion is moved from putting out posters on poles all night and, all the stuff we used to do. Now we're marketing and promoting on our phones. So if we're not on our phone listening to Spotify, we're working out marketing strategies, and such a different world.
Yeah, it sure is. All right, we're going to kick off with track one. A little bit of that from Bridges. There it is. There's the cover. It's always good that singles have covers, and artwork isn't a lost art. It's great to combine the art world in amongst music. But here we go with a bit of where are we? Bridges. Here we go. There you go, a bit of Bridges. We're going to leave you hanging on these songs tonight to let you get out there and investigate a bit more. There's some great clips in amongst this stuff. Clips are really important, I think, still in today's world. It gives you plenty of social media parts to cut up in the 5-second world. But Bridges, tell us a little bit about that one, mate.
Look, I just love watching that video, seeing Jay, our drummer, who's, he plays in this unorthodox way. He's left-hand leading. And I just love watching it because it's traditionally, he's a right-hander, but he's a left-hander sitting on a right-handed kid. I just love watching it. It's great. And he's an incredible drummer as well, of course. But it's a bit of a protest song, really, isn't it? I didn't realise until I looked back at it. I thought, wow, we are a little pissed off from that. It's a bit of like, stand up, stand up for what you believe in, and don't compromise. Really, that's what that was. That was a lead song off the album, and that's done particularly well for us. But I just love the kind of edgy earthiness about that one.
Yeah, it's a nice deep, plenty of big ripping guitar. Got a real mix in there, which is great, and great to see Jay Pinfold on the drums.
Yeah, what a legend. I mean, I don't know if he's watching or not, but we love JJ. Just such a wonderful human being and a great drummer. And you might know his background. He was the drummer for Duke Cartel. He was in LA for 12 years working at a drum shop while he was doing little tours with Duke Cartel, struggling and living on 2-minute noodles and all the rest of it. And since he's come back, he's sort of like got regrounded and joined the band. So he's just a wonderful guy, great experience, and such a solid player,
Yeah, I met Jay plenty of years ago now. Where actually Duke Cartel was just kicking off, to be honest.
Right.
Toby had just done Rockstar Supernova, and it was all go. Jay was a young, skinny drummer with a Kiwi accent that had already been in different parts of the world. I think he grew up in South Africa or born in South Africa, went to New Zealand.
South Africa. Still got that strong South African accent.
Yeah. Ended up in New Zealand, then off to the States, and great to see him back playing music in Melbourne.
Yeah, and he's just a wonderful man. So he's just such a great soul to have around, and that's, after all these years, you're really looking for that connection with people in the band. I don't want to kind of waffle on about too much, but if you can be in a band full of wankers, it's very difficult. But when you're surrounded by good people, it just makes it so much more fun. Yeah,
definitely. All right, we're going to go with song 2, Sunshine. Nice little pop art there. God, if that doesn't scream summer, nothing does. All right, here we go.
We need a bit too.
We sure do. So the sun's just come out and got a little bit better. Just a few memories of summer here. This is a great track. What a memory of summer. What a memory of summer. But there's a much deeper meaning to this song as well. Sunshine. Tell us a bit about it, mate.
Yeah, I don't want to break the spell or anything, but it's about mental health, really. And at the end of the day, the video is very summery in LA, and we're all having a wonderful time, but it's really escaping mental health problems and being able to free yourself from those darker spaces, and just looking for the metaphor of sunshine is to be able to break out of that. So, and we all know people who are touched by this. So,
Yep, absolutely. And just a really good word to think about when you get to those kind of moments, or you're having a bad day, or think of that sunshine. Think of something that get outside, have a look, because we can all get trapped in dark places, sadly, and hopefully, which was a plea at the start of this podcast, to just call a mate, say good day. Don't do the classic "Are you okay?" only, but please just get them in the car with you, or meet at a venue, have a chat, get in person. And if you can't, just ask them the question, because you just never know when it can be the next time that you drag them out of a bad situation.
Absolutely. And a lot of people don't want to talk about these things. They just don't want to talk. And, remember that, just like in the video, there's waves in life. We're up and down, and things happen. The wave's going to come up again. So,
yeah, it's a great track. It's a great track. Tell us a bit about the songwriting process for you. This is a mix of songs over a few years, obviously, but now that you've put it out as one album, how does it feel? Has it come together? Were there things you had to rework to pull this together as an album? Where did it come from?
Yeah, and that was you probably know that it originated from cassettes. Do you remember these?
Yeah.
And it's another COVID story, of course, but just finding all these cassettes, there was all these songs on there that were earmarked for an album back in 2000. I couldn't believe it. I just found them. I thought, wow, I listen to these songs, why haven't we done anything with them? And that's how this whole thing evolved. So the majority of these songs were written in the late 90s, early 2000s, which why there is a definite flavour there. The sort of structure of the songs and the melodic changes are very kind of 90s, let's say, and nothing wrong with that. But we were able to bring, I guess, maybe a more of a current energy to it, because I'd been producing bands and doing stuff for the last 20 years. So I was able to kind of think, okay, that's, these demos are from that period. How can we make them sound a little bit more now, so we can kind of give them a bit more freshness? So that's how that evolved, really. And they're mostly, nearly all of them are from those old cassettes we found.
Yeah, I think, remember, obviously, the old days of mixtapes.
Yeah.
Have you got one? Have you even got one handy laying around that you've ever listened to again and think, what was I thinking here? Even putting this song with that song and then that song, just kind of how it all happened.
Yeah, and yeah, it was the way we did things. And we used to demo songs, and we'd send a tape to each other. So I'd put some guitar and vocals on this thing, and I'd send it off to a friend, and he would come put his bit on his little cassette player and send it back to me again. And wow, how things have changed. But it was just the way we did it, you know.
And have you seen that happening? Obviously, that's par for the course almost these days. You can put together an album in different parts of the world. Obviously, COVID really made that happen for us. But being able to, send, say, Jay was back over in the States and him able to put a drum track to it and shoot some stuff around, and obviously got a real feel for pulling it off in a studio and being able to, put together a real live feel. Do you think, that's still a possibility these days to be able to pull it off in different parts of the world and still get that real and feel genuine?
I reckon you almost can. I think I like to have the drums in this space with me so we can eyeball each other and find that energy. With a lot of the bass and the backing vocals on the record, Doug Robertson, he did quite a bit of it in his own studio, but he's such a huge talent that he's able to bring this kind of anticipated energy to the music. And I was able to drop some of his stuff into the songs. And just wow, he's just come with incredible stuff. So, but with the drums, I think because it's such a physical instrument, and being in that space I think is obviously doable. But with Jay, I like to be eyeballing him, and we sort of bounce ideas off. And
back in the classic, the way it's supposed to taste, they say.
Yeah, and look, there's nothing wrong with picking up some overhead mics and trying to capture all the room sounds and everything. I know that a lot of people don't do it as much, but that was a part of the kind of the design of the album was to try and capture as much of that realness as possible, I suppose. So, warts and all. Yep.
And warts and all, we've all been to a place with plenty of scratchings and markings and very much look like this. Most venues actually inside, especially inside toilets in those areas. But
yes.
Remember when you were 17?
Pardon?
Remember when you were 17? What were you listening to?
Wow, 17. That's interesting, isn't it?
Around those ages.
I have to think long and hard about that. Maybe some Alice Cooper. What was going on around about then? Yeah, some Akadakara, all that kind of stuff.
And where were those influences kind of drawn from? Were they kind of older mates that you got music from, or were you listening to the radio, TV? Was it in amongst family? Where'd they come from?
Well, I've got a really musical family. We all played instruments in the family, but I've got older sisters, and they always played music all the time. So because they were quite a bit older than me, they were playing Sabbath, Led Zeppelin, all that kind of stuff. And, Beatles particularly, and that stuff sort of, you get indoctrinated when it's going on in the background as a young person. You're hearing it, and so I would have to say, all that kind of British, power rock stuff was quite influential on me. Not that I went out and deliberately looked for it, but it was there in the family. It was going all the time.
Yeah, and interesting. Inside the 90s, we talked about that kind of feel and what's going on there, and some of those tracks got a bit of an Oasis feel about them too. Do you kind of ever get that I know that you get a few different influences, very much, but Oasis is such a big band. It's hard to stay away from.
Yeah, I got really sick of that comparison. I mean, I should be flattered because it's like, wow, who wouldn't be compared to Oasis? But maybe it's the way I sing. I don't know what it is, but people, you got that kind of Oasis tone to us. Like, oh no, really? And so,
sorry to drag that up again, but
no, it's okay. It's okay.
You should be flattered, actually.
Well, it should be, but you don't always want to be yourself. You know what I mean? You want to try and do something unique to yourself, but you can't escape your influences, can you? I mean, they're going to come out. And not that I was a huge Oasis listener, but the Britpop thing, I really was into the Britpop stuff. So I guess that sort of evolved somehow in the music.
Yeah, and there's a feel. I mean, in amongst your stuff, you draw influences, like Lemonheads, You and I, Weezer. There's a few others that go in kind of your Screamfeeder as well. Is listed in kind of bands that they like or similar to, which Spotify loves to refer to as. Have you found one on Spotify when you've been compared to someone you think, really, do we actually sound like those guys? Have you had a obscure one?
A lot of the people we're similar to, I don't even know who they are. It's like, who are these people that they're comparing?
Have you ever gone down that rabbit hole and clicked on one and found out, geez, these guys are actually pretty good?
No, I have not, and I probably should. Probably
Yeah,
should.
absolutely.
Like I was saying, I like to try and stay away from it as much as I can, but you can't help but get down the rabbit hole occasionally.
Yeah, definitely. All right, here we go. 17.
Okay.
What a great line. What a great line. Don't come too close to me. Yeah, the bruises line. It's pretty interesting.
Thank you very much. Yeah, it is. It is all about that person that won't grow up, and maybe I'm a little bit guilty of that, and that's probably what I wrote it about. But I remember going to a party. I remember going to a party once, and one of my mates came up and said, "Oh, here comes John, the oldest teenager I know." And I thought, "You prick!" But it actually kind of planted that seed in my mind about growing up for older people. I can be 17 forever, but with that is some baggage, of course.
Sure, but not a bad way to flash back a few years. Is put this music out now, get it feel like you're back in, 96 in the mid 2000s and rocking along, turning mid-20s again.
Yes, laying in a field of daisies, not getting bitten by bees.
Yeah, and back in those days, hanging out was a thing.
It was.
Kind of don't do it as much these days, in my opinion. My idea of hanging out is getting a few mates together and hitting a gig and enjoying it, most importantly, and getting there early and seeing the support act, which I urge everyone to do. Don't just go for the headline. It's good. It's a good way to be.
I agree, and I think a lot of bands need support, and it's always one of those things. When you're at the opener, nobody's there, nobody cares. And I think to rock up, support them, give them a clap, get behind them.
Yep. Just on that, have you got anything in the works as far as a trip, a tour, any gigs coming up?
We just had a conversation this morning. Funnily enough, we were supposed to do an album launch with Holocene this month, which we had to cancel, and we just been offered another one in November. And just due to some personal circumstances going on at the moment with Jay and myself, which I don't want to elaborate on, we decided would make the new year the time to start gigging and getting out there and working it. So it's just getting a bit late in the year and there's stuff going on, particularly for Jay. So we're gonna sit on that for a little bit and not put too much pressure on anybody. So, but yeah, the gig offers have been coming in, and I just got to say no, which is really hard sometimes. But that kind of is what it is.
It'll come, and when the time's right, the band's not going anywhere. So it's a really exciting time for the band. And I wish the current lineup is a great lineup. Not that the old lineup was anything worse, but in this stage, incredible musos. It'll be great to get you guys in a room in the next couple of months and a great fresh start to the year, hopefully.
Let's hope so. And I'm just so blessed to have such talented people in the band. They make me look good, and I think that's as I said earlier on, playing with wonderful people who are super talented, it's just so delightful, and super blessed to have these guys playing on these songs. And we've got the next 10 songs have been recorded already for the next album, so we're just finishing off the last 2 next week. So they're all ready to roll for next year. So there's lots coming.
Unbelievable. So, all right, let's go with, let's try and work through these with Hanging Out.
Waking up and feeling shit again. All I need is something for the pain. Drank too much and partied all night. The damage done, I know there's something wrong. Yeah, I know I always go to see. Hanging out is so bad for me. Sometimes I just wanna get away. The part of me just wants to play. No home, no money, got no place to stay. My head is hurting in the worst way. Yeah, I know I always go to see. But hanging out is so bad for me.
Yeah, it's great Hanging Out. Well, it's a great track, and it's really, I love the clip for it too. That little amphitheater, whereabouts was that?
That's over at Spotswood.
Yeah, right. It looks like the one in Fairfield kind of area as well, or Alphington.
There's
Yeah, there's
likely
some great
a few of
magic
them.
little spots. Yeah. Always good putting a clip together, isn't it?
It is, and Mark Picatis directed that one. We've to try and watch the dollars. We've been shooting our own videos and also working with pros like Mark Picatis on occasional videos. And he shot that one and did some great stuff. Really lovely. He did some drone footage and he picked out the location. It was great down by the river.
Yeah, combining a bit of new technology with a classic 3-piece band, which I don't know if it gets done enough these days. People are prepared to just keep adding and adding to bands, and there's a magic about a 3-piece band.
Yeah, it certainly is, and it's certainly challenging the life situation because you've got this wonderful wall of sound, and there's 3 of us trying to make it happen. But yeah, it's great. It's a great visual, 3 people playing together. I think it's fantastic. So it's always very easy to kind of get a focal point on the band, and yeah, wonderful.
Yeah, and there's no doubt there's plenty of space in there to play in amongst that. But this one, Complicated. I love the feel of this song. So let's give it a crack.
Okay.
I'm always dreaming, a little crazy, no words could describe. You know that feeling. I could be wrong, but I know that I'm right. It's
Oh,
Do, do, do,
yeah.
do.
Oh, yeah. It sounds. I love that. In amongst the harmony there, it's awesome. I can. It's definitely going to be a bit for Dougie, pulling that off. He's got an incredible voice.
100%. You can hear him all the way through that, and
Mm.
the magic he brought to that song is incredible. I mean, I just love listening to what he's done on that. This whole chorale of vocals going on there, and as I might have mentioned before, I reckon he's one of the best bass players and singers in the country. And to have him bringing this stuff to these songs is just magical. And that song is particularly highlights what he can do as a backing vocalist in particular. But he's also a great singer.
Yeah, well, I think he's taken a bit more of a forefront on a couple of tracks coming up for Ice Cream Hands as well, so which is really exciting.
He has, and they're out
voice.
there working that album at the moment. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, powerful voice and killer bass player. So you talk about three in the band trying to fill a room, mate. You can do it easily. Don't worry, the three of you guys.
he because he's a songwriter, he contributes such melodic strength to the songs. He just the way he thinks just blows my mind. I can't say enough about Jay too, of course, but the way that he approaches songs on a melodic level is so Paul McCartney. It's incredible. He just I think what can I say? Does it really feel it kind of not obviously it raises the strength to what you put together as a band, but does it continue to challenge you as well? I think so. I feel like I've got two superpowers in the band, and I've got to, when I'm writing music, I'm thinking, I've got this, I've got to make this interesting, I've got to modulate this, I've got to make this go to there, and because I feel like you want to present music to them that they can kind of resonate with it and do something with. So it's a good thing. It's a good thing.
Yeah, and the track titled "Complicated." I think the world is a bloody complicated. Let's face it. There's challenges in amongst everything we do, but sometimes I think we can overthink things and maybe just not give ourselves the freedom to just not overjudge it. What's your thoughts on that?
Oh, look, I agree. I mean, that song is actually about learning to say no in an environment that is overly complicated, because I think that you just go down, like you said before, too many rabbit holes by saying yes and getting involved with everything, and you've just got to pull it back and just try and keep things as simple as possible, because it's just fry your brain.
Well, especially in today's world, we've got so much coming at us. It's hard to believe that the amount of information a kid has to absorb these days. Back to when we were kids, the world was very different. Now it's got so much coming at them. I wouldn't want to be a young kid in today's world. The great part is music still exists, bands still exist, venues still exist for now. Let's get out and support it. And good to hear a lot of young kids actually following some older bands too, which is really cool. But there's so many young bands that have come out of COVID as well, born in COVID or born in garages in amongst COVID, and spread some music around. Have you kind of caught one young band that you could that you've either seen over time, or someone that you could think we should be looking at?
Look, it's hard to say, because I listen to a lot of playlists and I hear some great music all the time, but I never get back to be able to pinpoint who it is or where it's coming from. But I'm hearing new releases all the time. It sounds fantastic, and it's definitely out there. Even though that my teenage children say that my music's old-fashioned, there are still a great people creating music with guitars and bass and drums, and regardless if it's indie or pop or alternative or shoegaze or whatever, they're still creating music, and I hear it all the time. Yeah,
and the great part is you talk to some of these young musicians I'll have on, and they've still got great influences, and their influences go back. They're not like influencers from the last few years. We're pushing back to Zeppelin and those as well, which is great that these kids are still honoring that and discovering that.
I think so. And once again, it comes back to, parents, older siblings and stuff who are playing this stuff, and they're exposed to a lot of it. I think my parents were listening to a lot of country and jazz when I was younger, but it was really my sisters who were rolling out the rock. So I guess a lot of these kids now have got this opportunity, and Spotify, I guess, opens a door up for, obviously there's D's and all the rest of them, but it gives them the opportunity to listen to and discover some of these bands. And like someone the other day said to me, some young, I think one of my kids said to me, "Oh, Nirvana, have you heard of Nirvana, Dad?" I said, no, I really haven't. It's this discovery for them. It's like, really, wow, Yeah,
it's great, and it's always great to hear from a young kid about, you might pick up a band or whatever. Or which album was it? Which song was it that's doing it? Because it's not always the way. And like we said, you go down years later, you go down a rabbit hole, and you might pick up a band late. You're half a dozen albums in, and you go back and you think, in amongst them.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to move on to Tom Lee Park.
That looks like pale and thin.
Oh, thin. Let's flip it up. All right, here we go.
That'll do.
You down, you gotta stand your ground. So why not give in? You're so pale and thin. You gotta keep on trying. Without love, there's nothing else. So why not give in? You're so pale and thin. You gotta keep on trying. You gotta keep on
That's one I just don't want to cut off. Jump back in when they least expect it. Yeah.
I know. I'm sitting here bobbing my head. So.
Yeah. I think there's when I look back at just that clip alone, I see young McCartney there for yourself, mate.
Oh, thank you. And I love that song. I don't know why, and I don't know if it's uncool to say that about your own music, but there's something about that song, the way it moves along. It just gets me every time. And we're actually releasing an acoustic version of that in about 3 weeks. So we've done a couple of sort of stripped back versions with just the acoustics, and some drums and Doug and I singing. And that's going to be one of them. And it's beautiful because it's much more vocal, and it's got like an Elton John style piano through it, which is lovely. And I just can't wait to get it out. So, and once again, looking at video, the power of the iPhone, hey?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, absolutely. It's funny because I think some of the footage these days is too good. We're all trying to dirty it down again now and film it in an older way and put a filter through it and stuff. So, nothing wrong with the old iPhone, that's for sure.
It's amazing that you can actually shoot a video on an iPhone. It just blows my mind that you can get away with that. The quality is so incredible. Obviously, if you're running through some filtering and stuff, you can get things look kind of interesting. But that one was shot on an iPhone. It was shot by Kerry Hicken from Holocene, who was walking around the room while we were doing it. And it's just amazing. It's blessed. I mean, it's so much better than it was back in the day. It was $6,500 to shoot a shit video. It's incredible.
And no guarantee you're going to get any more for it as far as putting it out into the world. But yeah, as we said before, never underestimate a good video, being able to put one together in respect of, doing obviously the visual component of being able to put together a song and a story, and filming it and showing the connection. I always loved when I used to sit back and watch Rage or any of those shows, and you'd finally get to see the band playing an instrument, and you think, this is more than just what I'm listening to. I'm seeing it now because we let's face it, we didn't get to see a lot of the bands up close and live, especially as you're growing up. But I think it's magic to see, you know, those guys in the room and doing their thing, and oh, that's how he plays it, you know, and get to see guitars and all sorts of magic. So I think clips are still underestimated, I reckon.
I think so. And the hard thing about I'm finding nowadays is we're on this routine of releasing music every 6 to 8 weeks, which probably a lot of people are doing. So it's a lot of assets you got to get prepared in that period of time. And you're not just the mixing and the mastering and getting us together, then shooting the video and getting that cut and edited. And really, we're on our toes the whole time, and we're not even playing live at the moment. So looking at these videos with you now made me realize, like, wow, we've done a lot of stuff, because you know you might have done a video or 2 per album back then, but now we're doing one for every song, you know, and there's a lot of work. Yeah,
and I think that part's kind of a little abnormal, which I think's awesome for this, especially this album that's come together. You know, to be able to have clips for pretty much everything, almost everything, is magic. And I think they're all very different as well, which is really cool.
Thanks.
And then let's move on to Tom Lee Park now that we found the video. Here we go.
I heard you're coming back. Do you remember our blood packs? We did a job on this old town till the county judge put you down. So why do we take the long way home? The wrong streets we used to own. Maybe a Tommy Park, 2 hours after dark. We've always been so blessed, raising how well we were just the best. You always took the blame. I won't put you all to shame. Why do we take the long way home? The wrong streets we used to own. Maybe a Tommy Park, 2 hours after dark. They won't be all so smart. The town at Tommy Park.
Oh, we're going to leave you hanging on that one too, to make sure you get out and check that one out on the big World Wide Web. But it's mate, it's a great clip. I love it. It's just one of those classic Lost Boys adventures, kind of, you know, get out there and get in the world and discover things.
Thank you. And Meta banned that video because I think there were some kids drinking grog, fighting and smoking, which I can't see as being anything as bad as we see online nowadays, but they blocked it and refused to play it. So, but the story behind that is that we've been working with this Polish director since about 2014. He'd been done a lot of videos for me and my other bands, 5 Mile Sniper. And he... we were talking to him about doing a shoot for that, and he said to me, I've just shot some footage with these kids having this kind of, you know, drink up in a you know, humpy, and he said, you can use that for your video if you want. And so we acquired that from him. So I'm sad to say I haven't met any of those people in the video, but
Great.
It's exclusively worked well because it really fit the theme of the song, which was about that, you know, youthful misadventures and violence and stuff that I'd seen when I was a younger person. So I wanted to try and capture that in that song.
Yeah, and you did beautifully. Let's talk guitars. Always been guitar for you?
Yeah, pretty much. I actually started playing the piano when I was probably, I don't know, 8 or something. And we always had the family upright, and everyone played the piano in the family. And I really taught myself how to play. My sister's got all the lessons, and I never did. And so, probably because I was a naughty boy. So I actually learned how to play the piano myself. And then I went from there to guitar when I was about 14. I started writing music when I was about 14. So, and I've been, pretty much since then. I've done a little bit of time on the drums, a bit of time on the bass, as we all do, which I found helpful, not only for writing and demoing and stuff, but to give you a better picture of what each instrument entails in a lot of ways, rather than just being a pure guitarist. I mean, I know what the drums are doing, I know what the bass is doing, and it has been really helpful for me over the longer term. And I can jump on the piano and do some piano if I need to as well. So, yeah.
Do you still use piano in part of your actual songwriting process?
I do. Yeah. Bridges, the first one you played, that was all written on piano. That was a piano song. Dunk, 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 dunk.
Yeah, right.
I thought, we can't use that. We need to have a guitar. So it ended up being those chunky guitar chords, which was, sounded a bit like it as well. But so it's still there floating around somewhere. And you get different tonalities and different voicings with the piano that you don't generally get with the guitar. I do a lot of alternative tunings with my guitars, but you can just find something slightly different on the piano. So if you can convert that to the guitar, it's great.
Yeah, and Tom Lee Park, there's some couple of I couldn't cut that song off until the screaming guitars kind of kick in as big solos there. So, there's so much in this album. Obviously, it's been a work for a little while, but getting to that point where it all fits together in 10 songs. How hard is it to juggle of still trying to work out what goes in what order? Has that ever been painstaking one for you?
Always painstaking. And if you're talking about the running order of the album, that's really difficult. But it's difficult to try and get an album of 10 songs that there's no filler, I suppose is what you say. And we just try to make sure each song had a certain flavour and feel, and they're all valid, strong songs. And hopefully we've achieved that. But then trying to put them in a running order is really hard because, talking about our generation, that ebb and flow of an album was important to us. When we're listening to the tape or the CD or whatever, you wanted to feel that kind of movement in the song and how it tails out towards the end of the album. So that's really hard. There's a lot of to and fro between, Tom Lee goes 7th and Complicated goes before that, so.
And I was playing it by order until I flicked it a little bit out. So someone will have to find out where the hole was. Yeah, that's right. The fresh mix. But we're going to finish with one that I think is an absolute banger. Ruby Shoes. Just tell us a little bit about putting this one together before we play the clip.
Mark Bacadis directed it again. The wonderful Mark, who is super generous and helpful and talented and was able to work on a budget with us. And this is a really simple song, just about doing the wrong thing by your partner and in this case, girlfriend. And I said, we just need someone in the video who's just some young girl or youngish girl who's knocking around on skateboards and doing things. He said, I know just the person. I didn't know who Sammy was, but put me in touch with her, and she was happy to do it. And she sort of really helped create that sort of, the cartoony element to the video, which is great. And it's very, I suppose it's kind of 60s. It's got that kind of Beach Boy kind of thing going on with it. And I grew up loving this kind of stuff in the 90s, the Lars and all those kind of bands from the 90s. I love that jangle guitar stuff. So this one is right in that pocket, as opposed to Tom Lee, which is a bit darker and a bit more hardcore. I mean, this is much more fruity, I suppose you would say.
All right. Well, firstly, thank you, John, for joining us tonight on episode 188. It's hard to believe that we're pushing that far up into the numbers. We'll try and organise something special for hopefully show 200 at some point, but we never did it for the 100. We actually skipped show 100 to come back to do something. Never did it and raced away to always towards 200. So I'd like to wish you all the best for this album, mate. It's great to hear that it's getting good airplay. People are loving it. There's a lot to love on this album. There's so much action. Every track is definitely deserves its place on this big debut album. So really looking forward to the next 10, which is always the challenge. How do you back it up? And it's great to hear that they're nearly all in the can.
Yeah, I know, and it's hard to back it up. That's it. And just listening to the songs now with you, it made me feel tired. Not tired, but it made me think, wow, we've done a lot of work, and appreciate your kind words. Thank you so much, because at the end of the day, no one's getting anything out of this except for love, you know, and that's, at the end of the day, we just want to connect with people and have songs that resonate with them. So that's fabulous to hear you say that.
And look, can't wait. I don't want to wish the future away too quickly, but can't wait to have you in a room soon playing music again and getting a chance to belt these albums out, this album out, and getting a chance to be with people and mates, and really starting to feel this energy that you guys have got as a band. So all to Alcotomic, good luck for the future, and we'll see you out there soon.
Thanks, Aaron.
All right, here it is, Ruby Shoes.
Myself in line, it's a long way down. I look in my eyes, I see cloudy skies. Don't you come around? These sticks and stones will never break my bones, but this talk round sound, your eyes that blew down to your ruby shoes. You want all the kind.
That one's way too good to just cut off. If that one doesn't get stuck in your head, nothing will. Ruby Shoes. What a great track. And Jay, bro, mate, you're looking sharp on that video, doing the things you do. So good to see you out there, mate. Can't wait to reconnect with you again soon at a gig. And thanks to John for joining me. We look forward to the next episode of So What's Been Happening in the next week. But for now, we'll see you out there. Don't forget what I said. Call a mate, call a friend, get them to a gig. Everyone needs you right now. So put your big arms around each other and let's do it together. See you out there.